Energized Show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? So welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Our Kings Competitions. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
Introduce the guest, man.
Today we have Irish MMA and Jiu-Jitsu legend. It's the one and only head coach of Team Ryano. It's Coach Andy Ryan. Andy, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, lads. Good. Glad to be here. Not really, but I'll let alone I'm glad to be here, right?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll slip you the money later.
We're glad you're here, Andy. That's all that counts.
No, listen, thanks very much. Thanks.
Andy, unbelievably successful weekend from the gym. Three big wins at the weekend. We'll start off. You were obviously over with Redzer at Polaris. What was that show like, and how good was it to see Redzer back competing?
Yeah, Polaris is really, really good. The show was super high level. The lads run a top show there. You know, there's some amount of talent on that show. It was the best I've seen Redzer. Even these last couple of pro fights, he didn't look as good or as fit as that or as healthy as that. It's the healthiest I've seen him, the fittest I've seen him. And the most happy, like he was a happy camper there fighting the weekend. I don't call it fighting, just matches in the jiu-jitsu. It's not really fighting after what he's had to been doing before. But yeah, it's he looked good. I thought his last couple of MMA fights wasn't the Redzer that we know. He looked a bit depleted and tired. That for me, even these last couple of jiu-jitsu matches didn't look as good as that. He looked healthy and strong, and he looked very peaceful in the mind. It might sound mad, but he was very settled in the whole fight. He didn't get himself caught up in anything, you know. I thought it was very good. He did put the work in. I will say that he put the work in for this event, which is a big deal, you know.
Yeah, as he says, you're either a workhorse or you're not. And that man's definitely a workhorse.
Yeah. But he listened up. Usually he tries to do too many things. Like he was, at one stage, he was doing 25 kilometer runs one day, and doing a strength weightlifting competition on the next day, and then coming to roll and stupid stuff. And then playing that bleed stupid golf is what he was playing. I banned him for golf for 8 weeks. 8 weeks up to that fight, and that was the key. No golf.
Yeah, so if you want to make it the BJJ world, give up the golf. That's the key lesson.
Yeah, if you don't have another job and you have loads of time and you live in San Diego, play the golf. You like, good weather, but if you're trying to do a 9 to 5 job, he does a bit of DJing the weekend, and then try and nail full time. You haven't got time.
With that for Redzer, would you like to see him be more active then and competing a bit more often and get those big matchups? Yeah,
I'm not too worried about that. I'd like to see him push himself more into the jiu-jitsu scene, as in, start teaching a few seminars and get himself around. He's one of the best in the country, He showed at the weekend. There's no frills with him. He just gets it done. And so I'd like to see him out there doing a bit of teaching and seminars around the country and that, and do, get on Polaris more. I'd like to see him fight MVP now on Polaris. I think it'd be a good fight.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a Polaris UK versus Ireland. That could be a good show, and that could be the headliner. I'd be all for it. I thought he looked really good. I thought he really pushed the action out of the two of them. I felt
the other guy, Christian's a lovely guy, and he's tough. He's good judo base as well,
Yeah,
and he's a young guy, young fit guy, Red's getting on now, 38.
Well, look, Redzer was the one for me pushing the pace in there. So at 38,
yeah, that's what I mean. He looked very controlled. His fitness level was good, and he was strong.
It was great to see Redzer get the win. But the thing is, the Grapple Kings Open is going to be coming up soon. I know it was meant to be on this weekend, but it was pushed back. Would you like to see Redzer on that next?
I don't mind. The Grapple King lads do a great show. We've had lads on it, and Redzer's been on it before. Grapple Kings with Philip and Peter. Yeah, I think if the time is right and the opponent is right, 100%. But I won't pressurise him. He's having a good competition there. I'll let him play golf for a couple of weeks, and then we'll see what happens.
He needs a good matchup, doesn't he?
Yeah. Was Redzer nervous about losing his job with Cage Warriors after such a fantastic jump by the one and only J.R. Harris?
No. I heard it cost Cage Warriors about 20 grand to get subtitles put under. I think I'm bad with Dublin accent. He's worse.
Stop the lights. But I suppose one transition to Redzer will be he'll be very happy with Solomon and Lewis. We'll start off with Solomon. 2 submissions at the weekend. Andy, what's the story with Solomon? All 4 of his Cage Warriors fights, he's finished them in the last 30 seconds of the round. That man doesn't stop till the buzzer goes.
No, he's getting mixed. So I told him the first 30 seconds, he mustn't be listening. And he's doing the last 30 seconds. So look, and he's 5-0 record. I think it's 3 submissions now, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 submissions, two strike finishes. So he's all finishes.
Yeah. Look. Listen, as I said, I'd have to say to Solomon. Solomon doesn't believe him sometimes. I just say to him, like, you're one of the big dogs in the gym here. You know, himself and James and I suppose Darby and that coming through. But they're the big dogs leading the way. You know what I mean? And I've always said it. Everyone was talking about. I think the last time we had a conversation about everyone talking about where Darby was going and what's next to James. I said, listen, lads, it's Solomon. I think Solomon's going to be in that UFC or big promotion sooner than anyone thinks. You know what I mean? I think we've got to be careful now what we do with him in these next couple of fights. Don't do anything stupid. That was a step up in opponent. I'm not going to say step up in class. I don't want to be disrespectful, but the guy had a lot more fights. A very experienced fighter, a tough guy. But I think Solomon's in that danger land where he's going to find it hard to get, you know, someone his own level. He's probably going to have to step up now. I think he's ready for it, but I don't think there's a rush for him yet. You know, let's see what next year, you know, has. I'll speak to Graham Boyle and speak to Ian and see what's on their plans, and then we can speak to Solomon's management. But Solomon will go tomorrow and fight anybody. You know the way he is. But you can see the massive difference from amateur to pro with him. Like, he had all them sort of, you know, good traits when he was an amateur, but sometimes didn't believe in himself as much. I didn't believe in his fitness and would hold back a little bit. You know what I mean? And you can see it there now. He's an all-rounded fighter. He's dropping guys in training here with body shots, not meaning to. You know, he's out wrestling some of the wrestlers. You know, he's good. He's really put the work in, and you can see that.
Yeah, he totally controlled the fight from start to finish against someone who's very experienced as well. Now, obviously, Saul has I think he has about almost 20 amateur fights, so Saul's very experienced. But I think he sort of, in the build up to that fight, he was very under the radar. But after that, now 5-0, 5 finishes, he's definitely one to watch, isn't he, Ross?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Saul's as Andy was saying, he doesn't really have a lot of places to go. He's after creating this buzz about himself. He's got 4 finishes on the Cage Warriors roster. You know what I mean? Like, he's looking up towards those other guys who've made a name for themselves in Cage Warriors. You know what I mean? I'd love to see him get like a prime spot on the Dublin card, on the main card. I'd love to see him fight someone with a bit of name recognition. But as Andy said, like, you know, in fairness, we're very bad for trying to shoehorn everyone into title shots, Andy. We want everyone to fight for the belt tomorrow.
Yeah, no, which is good, but everyone has a certain time, you know, a certain time.
Exactly.
And I think the thing with Solomon, like, talk about, like, he looks very good with an experienced fighter. I think it's because he's training here with experienced guys all the time. So, like, we have a little, I suppose, we don't have a huge fight team, but we have a very experienced fight team. So it's pretty small compared to some gyms, but they're all good levels. So in the pros, you know, you got the 2 visits, you know, Nadine and Jamie. Jamie, they're actually on there training now at the moment. And then you got, you know, Jer, and then we've got Lewis, and then the Sheens, and, you know, we've a good few amateurs coming through. We've Senna, that's abroad as well. Give him a shout out for his boxing fight as well. He got a win in his boxing fight there.
John Mitchell, 2 bits.
Yeah, John Mitchell, yeah. But it was good. We'll take that as another Team Ryano fighter winning over the last few days. No, but listen, I think so. They're in it. There's a good special little bond to them. They're all very, very experienced amateurs. They're all experienced pros, and they're all rubbing off each other there and sharing a bit of knowledge and helping each other. So, you know, there's a little bunch of them. Instead of coming together, we've made a little training room downstairs for them, as you're saying, Ross, and they're using that now a lot, and they're just meeting up together as a small group. So they're not getting caught up with training with a load of beginners and stuff. You know, they have their own bit of space in the mat, and I sort of lead them to it a little bit. I'll direct them a bit. But, like, so James has no fight coming up, so let James take charge a little bit. You know, if Lewis hasn't got something coming up, I'll let Lewis take charge a little bit. So it's good that way.
Yeah, one person we have to talk about is James Sheehan. He's obviously the champion in Cage Warriors, and he was meant to defend his title. Like, I think it was around now. I know the fight was cancelled, but would you like to see James back in action, Andy?
Yeah, James was meant to be for September. Was it his
September? Yeah, I don't think it was November. Yeah,
and we wanted to do November. We couldn't. There was no spot because they're putting all those title fights up. They couldn't put another one up. So the first show that Cage Warriors do. But listen, Graham Boylan's watching, and anyone out there watching, if a UFC fight pops up, he's ready to go. He's dead fit. He's dead sharp. He's in great condition. He's ready to go.
Yeah, well, it was announced that Cage Warriors are coming to Dublin twice next year. Yeah. And Andy, you know the dates. You may as well break the news.
I don't know the dates. I don't know.
Yeah, and actually,
you know something, I used to get myself caught up in all that. When they come, couldn't give a fuck. They're coming, which is good. It'll open the doors for a lot more clubs than just us. And anyone out there that hasn't got, you know, if you have young fighters coming through, get them on Cage Warriors. You know, it's a good pathway. And you're going to get a few fights a year. That's the main thing. There's plenty of shows. You know, there's plenty of shows, especially with 2 shows in Ireland. Are they going back to Scotland again? Did he announce where they're going back to?
I said
he said they're doing 18 shows. Didn't say.
Shows. So you'd be mad not to sign with them then, would you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was interesting that it said 2 Ireland. They didn't say 2 Dublin. So I wonder, will they do a trip back down to Cork?
Belfast?
They go to Belfast with the last FAI updated a few guys, haven't they?
Yeah, that's fair. FAI as well. Yeah, up in Belfast. Yeah, that'd be a good shout as well. Like, look, as long as they have 2 shows in Ireland.
And there's a few guys in Cork there. The Brian Manley's gone pro and that, isn't he? And there's a few lads in his gym there, you know. So I think wherever it happens in Ireland, it's going to be busy anyway.
Exactly. And after that recommendation that you think people should, if the opportunity arises, they should go to Cage Warriors, we should touch on Lewis Byrne. Great win up in Clan Wars. Very unique submission. Took on an opponent on short notice. Moved up a weight class. Really, really solidified himself on his entry into the pro scene. And what a submission, Andy. Tell us, what did you make of the submission? What's your breakdown on it? Because it was very unique looking.
Yeah, but he always does mad hippie stuff. We always slag him over that. You know, he does stuff that looks doesn't work. And once he went down and the guy had him in side control, we knew there was something coming. I actually thought he was going to get the boogie show, but he went for that sort of his own version of it, sort of triangle neck crank position. I think Mark Leonard was surprised, but we knew what was happening when he was doing it. You know what I mean? He does stuff like that in the gym. But on Lewis is someone that I'm glad now has got to get that little win. He puts the work in. Sometimes he doesn't have that bit of venom in him or doesn't have that belief in himself. You know, because when you see him boxing, you see him wrestling, you see him jiu-jitsu, he's brilliant. But he's putting it all together now, so I'm really, really happy for him. He's probably in the gym here. You see, he teaches the kids. He helps me out when I'm away and stuff. So he's a great kid. He's a great guy. And just on that with Clan Wars, fair play to Clan Wars, his opponent pulled out. And it was the second time. The last time he had sold a load of tickets and the opponent pulled out. So Paul went out of his way and flew that guy in. You know, I know it cost them a few quid because it was a last minute thing. So I do appreciate that with Clan Wars. With the big card they had, they could have just leave Lewis, but they didn't. So I want to thank them.
No, they definitely needed Lewis on that card.
Yeah.
Especially because Graham Sheehan was off the card. Like, they definitely needed that profile on it.
Listen, Graham Sheehan, I've never seen someone looking in as good shape. You know, we'll come to him in a minute. I don't want to go off Lewis here, lads.
Yeah.
Trouble. No, but I think Lewis, that was a great, sort of pro debut for him. And, he didn't worry about the weight. He was walking around about 69 kilos fight week. And then we agreed to do that weight at 70. He was in the process of water cut. So, look, it didn't bother him as much. That shows you the professional he is. I know Clan Wars was straight on to us, thanking us, for having him on the show. And they'll try and sort him out for the next one. But, yeah, and let's do the thing as well. I know Cage Conflict had a show, OUR. Who else? Was there someone else?
I think Premiere were meant to have a show on that date as well.
So listen, there's loads of shows in Ireland that the club should be sending the fighters to. And when I'm talking about the Cage Warriors, I'm talking about fellas that are sort of experienced pros, or if shows here can't get them someone. But like the Cage Conflict lads, the OUR, Clan Wars, the Premier, they will, try and support the local clubs first. Because that's where you make your name. That's where you get your experience, You go off when you go to Cage Warriors, your first pro fight, or you go to one of the big, other promotions, first fight, and you lose. Where do you go? Build your name if you can. Try and support the local shows. I wonder, will Decky might be back next year, so he could have his show back as well. So there's plenty of shows. It's just getting matched on them. I think people sort of put down the local shows, but they're the ones where you make your experience and you earn your shot to go to the bigger show.
Yeah, we love a local show. We love a local show.
I love a local show. It's great.
Andy, like, what were your thoughts on the way Clan Wars and Cage Conflict both had an event on the same night? I know Premiere originally had it booked as well that day as well, but the way 2 big shows on the same night.
Well, so there's 2 ways to look at that. People look at it and they'd say, oh, well, maybe people should agree to have certain dates. But hang on, they're 2 different businesses. Both are trying to make money and do their own show. So both want the perfect day for themselves. It's a shame that happened. But I think the 2 shows were full already. There was enough fights about.
Definitely. I think
it's not ideal. It's not ideal, but you can't say, Clan Wars can't say to Cage Conflict, you don't put your show on this week. We want to look. If there's a bit of, it would be great if you could say, listen, we're going to start in December. Well, what happens then is someone says, well, I'm going fucking this in November in case someone gets injured or pulls out. So I understand, because I ran shows myself, and that's the heartbreak of it, you know. That's the heartbreak. It isn't nice to have them on the same night, especially the same part of Ireland. I think that could have been a little bit different. One was in the south and one was in the north, you know. Yeah. But look, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It's more for the MMA people tune in, and they have to pay for both streams. It's like not many people are going to do that. So,
but I don't think people do anyway. I think people only tune in if their teammate or their mate is on a show, you know. So
no, I bought one, and Ross bought the other over the weekend.
Yeah, but you are you know, MMA journalists, and that's your sort of job. But I think, look, like Lewis's fans weren't tuning into Cage Conflict, and guys in Cage Conflict weren't tuning because they're only signing up to watch their guys. Really, you know, I think that's the way it is. Really, it's not as if it's the UFC or something, you know, and you're watching this, you know. So I think it's people them was you know, TV things, and it's only whoever you know on that card you're really signing up and paying the money to watch. Really. I could be totally wrong now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it's not far from the truth, and I think even if you go to some of the bigger shows, like Ireland is like so cult like that. If you put two non-Irish people in the main event after an Irish person, that like people leave.
Yeah, really. Yeah, but you see that like because when I was running shows, we'd run a big battle zone and the place we sold out. But if the big ticket sellers run early, then people were gone. They're not waiting around. They're gone out for a night out, you know.
Yeah. Well, I would have thought it would be a better idea to have maybe one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday, and then people could actually tune into both. But I mean, like, look, we all have different thoughts.
Look,
I know,
like
but that's
not a deal.
You know, yeah. And I actually do like the shows when they're up the north on a Sunday, and they used to do nice and early. You know, get in early, get out early. You know, we used to love them starting at 3:00 and you're done at 7, 7:30. You know, it's great.
Yeah. Next one coming up is Cage Gladiators, coming up on November the 17th. Danny Core is going to be running that show. Yeah,
it's just great, isn't it? We haven't got anyone on it yet. I'm going to actually give him a buzz after this now, because we were talking about putting a couple of novice guys on a sort of a pre-show or, you know, something like that. But look, it's great to see him run the show. Danny's a long time around. Danny runs, it's a very successful gym. You know, he's sort of the backbone of Northern Ireland and Irish MMA the last good few years. So it's great to see him doing the show. Hope it's successful.
Yeah, we're on the phone to him, I'd say, last week about it, and like definitely one of the most unsung heroes. Like the amount of paperwork that fella does in the background trying to get MMA regulated up north and down south is incredible. So shout out to Danny Core. One person we did touch on there, and you said he was in phenomenal shape, Graham Sheehan. Now I know you said about, you know, making your name on the more local shows, but how fitting would it be to get the Sheehan brothers to share a Cage Warrior card?
Yeah, it would be great. It'd be great. Graham, I suppose, is a very experienced amateur. You know, if a fight come up with someone with a couple of fights on Cage Warriors, even up to 5 pro fights, I'd take it for Graham, because he is experienced. Like, he's James's main sparring partner. You know, there's certain guys like that in Ireland that probably can. You know, Kyo from you know, CMAC and Brian Manning from Cork. Their lads are experienced and amateurs, so they can jump up the bandwagon a little bit. You know what I mean? But I think Graham could. But I would like to get him on. We were trying to get him on Clan Wars. That fell apart. We were trying him on IU War. We were trying him on a few shows. We just couldn't get it. You know,
can't find a dance partner.
We would just have to take anything now for Graham, and that's the truth of it. You know.
Do you think there's a bit of a you know, the surname holds a bit of weight there for some people that don't want to take the fight? They're like, oh, that's the Cage Warriors welterweight champion's brother. Don't want to fight him, type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know because Reds only had this conversation. But I was like, he was saying that sometimes people look at Team Ryano, oh, yeah, it's a tough gym, but it's not really, you know, they're not great in jiu-jitsu, they're not great at them, and we fucking are. You know, we showed that this year. You know, okay, we're not one of the biggest gyms anymore. At one stage, we were one of the biggest gyms. I still think we're up there. But the quality we have, we've got guys winning, you know, on the jiu-jitsu scene, the MMA scene, you know, we've guys wrestling, a great wrestling team here. We've guys doing a little bit of judo. So I think Reds were sort of saying, even on his fight, people are looking at him there, oh, we're saying to my fight, I didn't realize how good you were, how tough you were. Geez, you had great judo. What do you expect? Like, he's an experienced professional athlete. You know what I mean? We have a tough gym here. We're one of the longest going. So I think people look at us a little bit different like that. So, you know, I don't know really. I don't know.
I would say the last 24 months has been almost like a massive resurgence for the gym. I think like the win rate is probably really, really high in the gym the last 24 months. I think it's been, the last few years have been terrific.
Yeah, I think what happens is with gyms is yeah, people will see that in most gyms is that they big up so much their good times, and when the bad time comes, they fall apart. Every gym gets a climb. This is probably our third or fourth wave of pros coming through. You know, we go right back as far as John Donnelly and then Neil Seary and stuff, and then the Redzers and Card and all them lads. We've different levels coming through, and this is the new crop of them coming through, and James is leading the charge there.
Yeah. Go on, Baz.
No, I was just going to say, Ross, you were saying that ever since you've joined Team Ryano, they've gotten even better.
Don't fucking down.
That's why I was laughing. But here, Andy, we're obviously in November now. Just before we let you get back to what you're doing, overall, how do you think 2024 has gone so far for Team Ryano?
Yeah, good. Like good on an all-round gym where we've the kids right up as far as the pros. Yeah, really, really good. Once again, we won the Irish champions of the kids jiu-jitsu scene. That's really, really good. We took a few medals at the World Masters there. We gold medals and stuff. So really, really happy with that. Then we've had, our amateurs have been doing really well. Bad on injuries the second half of the year with James and Darby. That was a killer. You seen Darby broke his finger, got an operation. So that was hard on him, hard on James. But yeah, I think we've been doing well. I think if you look at the fight team, really, outside of the amateurs, our amateurs are always doing well. But outside of that, we have a great little kids amateurs team as well, doing well at the Worlds and stuff. But our pro team, I think they're doing well. I think the Jamie had a great pro debut this year. Jer Harris has had some great fights. It's a tough last fight. Good to see Solomon killing everyone. Good to see Lewis Bourne make his pro debut. James world champion. I can't ask for that more, really. It has been a good year. Has been a successful year, I think. Yeah.
It's undeniable. You know what I mean? Like I said, that win rate is going through the roof at the moment, and long may it last. And it's great to see. And yeah, I think James Sheehan leading the charge there, and I can't wait to see him back in the cage because world champion. Probably one of the main reasons Cage Warriors feel confident to come back to Ireland in 2025.
Yeah, and I think they need the card. They need good guys in the card to sell them venues, because it is an expensive place to run a show in Dublin. It's expensive from start to finish. You know what I mean? So, look, if they come back, I hope they get plenty of support. I know they said I come back for 2 shows, but I hope they get plenty of support. There is plenty of gyms out there, and I think, as you see, there's a few SPG guys fighting in Italy, wasn't it, the weekend?
Yeah. Shout out Conor McCarthy.
Yeah. But the guy he fight was trains in Johns, isn't he?
The guy Saul fought had trained in Johns before.
And I think the fella that fought
Conor McCarthy
as well, no, at some stage.
Potentially, there seems to be a few Italians there.
Yeah.
A lot of them seem to have the same name to me.
That's a start. There's plenty of good Irish guys out there coming on that. There's plenty of good young pros.
Big 2025 line.
No. Let me bring it back in.
You bring it back in. You bring it back in, Baz. You asked that then.
No, okay. Yeah, so Ross.
Yeah, and the big 2025 lined up, some big shows, and like you say, you need some big name sellers on the card to run those shows in Dublin.
Yeah, some big stuff coming up. Yeah, right from the kids right all the way up. We're actually going to target the European Masters for the older jiu-jitsu guys in the gym. So Ross, you're an elf now. How old are you, Ross?
34.
What?
Oh, there you are, perfect. You're coming. We're going to Barcelona. You're coming. You can carry the bags, I carry the water. Now you can come. That's a target for you now. Put you on the spot.
You're on the spot, Ross.
Listen, Bert and Ernie, it was great talking to you. And,
Andy, thanks very much for your time, and we'll see you very soon. Make sure you put Ross in a pretzel when you see him next.
He's always eating pretzels up here. He's never out. He doesn't train. He goes up and stands around, talks a lot.
Oh yeah, of course. But that's what you have me there for. Morale boosting.
We're gonna employ him as the hype man. We're gonna bring him to all the events. The
team mascot.
Now listen, we're putting Ross on the spot now. Euros Masters in next year, Ross.
What date is that?
When?
I think it's May.
That seems reasonable. Reasonable. Right.
Yes, we'll do that. Right,
Andy, thanks very much for your time. See you later.
Andy.
Energized Show, up the Irish.
So Ross, Barcelona in May 2025.
Yeah, apparently I'm on the roster.
You're on the roster, Ross. For the people tuning in, thanks a million. Andy Ryan's an absolute legend. Make sure to make sure to leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe. And you can always tell a friend because we're here every week, aren't we, Ross?
Yeah, we are. Every week. Can't miss us. We're the guys with the glasses on.
Yeah. If you didn't notice. But Ross, I know we had Andy on there and we were talking about clan wars and cage conflict. But the thing is, I tuned into cage conflict, you tuned into clan wars, and I'm going to ask you first, what did you make of the clan wars event overall?
Yeah, I thought it was like really good show. Like, without sounding like too like funny about it, like I liked their production. I think their production value was really, really high. I think like the walkouts are great. I think the cameras are brilliant. I think like it looks like super bright and vibrant, and I thought like the stream went really well. Like there was no lagginess to the stream, so I thought that was pretty good. The only issue I had was I actually missed the Lewis Byrne fight, but I was able to go back and watch it afterwards. They uploaded the show quite fast afterwards, considering it was like a 4-hour show. Yeah. I had it, and it was sort of showing the Clan Wars logo or whatever their sort of default picture was in between fights, and then I got a text be like, Lewis Byrne first round submission, and then I was like, what? I was like, this isn't playing, and then I refreshed the stream, and then it showed Lewis Byrne celebrating the cage. So that was my only one sort of negative. Now look, there was quite a few decisions, but like obviously that's not something the promotion can really dictate. It was what it was. But I suppose I'll just go over the championship fights. I know we already sort of touched on Lewis Byrne. So first winner was
the first one, Ross, another Team Ryano. Team Ryano Waterford.
Yeah,
Solomon Simon's brother, Sam Simon, got the win.
Yeah, another sibling pairing under the Team Ryano banner. They love a few siblings to do.
You can only be a brother if you join Team Ryano.
Sam Simon, he got rocked really badly, really early. Darryl Sullivan had some pinpoint striking. There was a few people saying robbery afterwards. I think it was one of those fights where the first round was so decisive for O'Sullivan that, you know, the second and third round were quite close, and everyone's just like, oh, well, he had to have won that, because I think if you looked at the fight as a whole, well, again, like there are 3 fights over the course of 3 minutes, if that makes sense. So each round is scored irrelevant to what happened in the round previous. So rounds 2 and 3 were really, really close. One judge scored actually 30-27 to O'Sullivan, and the other 2 judges scored 29-28 to Simon. Now, look, this fight was up in Belfast. It was in no one's backyard. I don't think the judges had any bias towards one fighter over the other. And yeah, Sam Simon got the decision nod. He's gone home, the Clan Wars champion. So fair play to him. Again, like, it is amateur, so it's great to get those tough scraps in. So fair play to him. And then next up we had Billy Sutherland.
Yeah.
He is the Clan Wars flyweight champion, and now he is the Clan Wars bantamweight champion. He has now reached champ status. Again, another elite flyweight / bantamweight in Ireland. I'd love to see him fight the likes of, you know, Kieran Coogan, Omas Oliver, Keane McCartan, you know, Fufu Fares, some of these guys next, because I'd say Billy Sutherland's probably going pro soon enough.
Yeah, then Ross, the next fight in the main event, like we obviously touched on Lewis Byrne, but in the main event, Peter Halpenny taking on Jamie McCafferty. This was voted the people's main event, and it was the main event as well. It
really was a bit of spice in the build-up to a punches prone at press conferences. Face-offs wearing the Energized glasses. Like, what more do the people want?
Iconic.
It was iconic. Look, I think Jamie McCafferty brought more of the eyes to this fight. He seems to amass quite the large following and quite the large presence in the MMA scene. And deservedly so. Some brilliant finishes in the build-up, and he promotes the fights really, really well. But Peter Halpenny, obviously from No Fear MMA, but doing a lot of training with the CMAC boys. Alex O'Sullivan in his corner, and it was all one-way traffic around 1 and 2 for Halpenny. And then the exact same scenario, except in reverse, with McCafferty on top for round 3, and unanimous decision for Halpenny. He goes home, champ as well. So overall, champs all around.
So overall, what would you rate Clan Wars 50?
Give it a solid like 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed watching the show. Thought the level was really high, and these are the fights that people are trying to see.
Oh, that's good. It was just a pity they're both on the same day. But look.
And then obviously we touched on Lewis Byrne getting the win as well. By the way, one of the submissions of the year, Baz. That was insane.
Well, look, when you get finishes like that, big organizations are going to come knocking.
Yeah, people want to know.
Yeah, maybe Cage Warriors next. Who knows, Ross?
Who knows?
There's plenty of options out there. Cage Conflict was on over the weekend as well.
This is on you, Basmo.
This is on me. A lot of pressure, like, you know what I mean. I know Shando's very annoyed with us for so let's see if he's tuning in now. I thought, like, let's start with the production. I'd like to see a better lighting in the cage for the fighters. Even in the main event, Corey McLaughlin was fighting Mario Di Tofano, and they both sort of stood up and then slipped on the ground. Now I know that has more to do with the actual mat, but like maybe if it was a bit brighter, you'd see it was a bit slippery over there. Then I think like the three lads, John McColgan, Paul Hughes, and Phil Campbell did a great job, Mike. I feel like they did a great chemistry as well. I think that's actually also very important.
Elite knowledge, anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is, they only came on when it was the main card. You know what I mean? So like,
was there no commentary before that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that sort of didn't really keep you. It just caught your attention more when.
Well, you'd like to hope that that was the case and there wasn't an error and they were doing commentary to no one.
Well, no, I think that happened last time when I tuned in as well, actually.
Okay.
Then one thing with both shows actually was when they were putting out 5 posters for the winners. They weren't actually tagging the winners or.
I think they were eventually, some of them, but like it wasn't given the love and attention that it probably should have been.
Yeah, which I think is also very important. But we'll get into it, Ross. On the main card,
some areas for improvements for both shows, but we only mean it with kindness.
Yeah, well, I'm not slating them here. I'm just
no,
but like
be better.
Yeah, but also we're the people tuning in, paying the money to have a watch. Also, it was $10.99 sterling for Cage Conflict, and it was $14.99 sterling for Clan Wars. So
plus booking fees.
Oh yeah, the booking fees as well. Just to see what the difference was.
Just gives the real price going forward, would it?
It's like America.
Yeah, but it's like booking what? I'm like clicking on it now.
Then right, Chloe Crozier got the win over Louise Brady by a submission, and that was I think that was round 1. So she's new champion there. Owen Mass Oliver got the win as well. He picks up the bantamweight title. Michael Shields got the win. He picked up the featherweight title. Then we'll get into the co-main. Owen McDonald making his pro debut against Sanchez. Now the thing is, watching this in the first round, he had Sanchez in like a guillotine, and like he had him on the ground for absolutely ages. Sanchez was saying he was absolutely fine, and then listen to the commentary, they were saying that like McDonald looks absolutely spent. Then the second round, Sanchez sort of picked up the pace, and in the third round as well. When it went to decision, according to the commentary, you're being led to believe that it didn't go McDonald's way, but then McDonald got the decision. Now, looking at when the decision was being read out, Sanchez and his team looked very, very disappointed in that. Then I'm not sure how you're going to call that.
I think McDonald came out afterwards and said he wasn't that impressed with his own performance, but he was happy to get the win. So I'll probably let you know that, McDonald wasn't blown away by his own performance.
No. Then in the main event, Mario Di Tofano defeated Corey McLaughlin by decision. The build-up for this, I felt like could have been a bit better. Like in the build-up, Mario deletes his Instagram. Now, I don't know if there was a reason for that, but like when a big domestic Irish fight comes up, and like we're like looking forward to it. And like a half, like one half of the main event has gone radio silent. We didn't even know if the fight was going to be on.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I text Shando and asked him if the fight definitely happened, because normally someone like deletes their Instagram and then all of a sudden something's come up and they've pulled out of a fight. That tends to be the way things go.
Especially when you're making the artwork, you're like, is this person actually like fighting?
Yeah, it just seems strange he did it. Maybe it was a massive distraction for him, and that's why he did it. You know, first pro fight. But I will say
he is more of a quieter guy.
Oh, he definitely is. He's definitely a bit more. I don't know, you'd say on the reserve side, but you know, if you're in the program, promoting your fights is part of the job. So like, I think it's important to do. But look, obviously Mario went out there and got the decision nod. He got rocked early as well, Baz.
Yeah, in the first round, Corey was sort of putting hands on him, and then once Mario finished the second round on top, finished the first round on top, it was sort of you could have given that round to Corey. Then the second round, Mario just sort of dominated him on, like he was on top from the second round, and the third round was sort of the same. I would have given the fight to Mario. It was a split decision, but overall, like, I mean, Mario's a BJJ black belt, and it was
his top game is very, very, very good. Like, it's very smothering.
Yeah. Do you know what? I wouldn't say. I'm not going to say I was shocked, and I'm not, because I wasn't shocked, but I was just like, I was actually very impressed how smothering his top game was. That like it looked very hard for Corey to get out. I know Corey like sprawled out a couple of times, but Mario, he just looks like an absolute vet doing that. So fair play. It was overall, I think it was a great event. There was like plenty of fights. Like the amount of fights we had to cover over the weekend there, including Cage Warriors as well, jumping back and forth to everything. Overall, it was one of them nights for us where we're just working non-stop. I think it finished just before 12. And congrats to both Cage Warriors. To both Clan Wars and Cage Conflict. And hopefully next time they won't be on the same night, Ross. Imagine Premiere was on it as well. Like who would have covered that?
Who knows? Who knows? We would have had to. would have had to get a ringer in. But one thing actually, Cage Conflict did that I saw on socials that I was really impressed with is Omas Oliver, after he won, they brought in Jason Sreenan into the cage for a face-off, and like that's their next opponent. So Sreenan's from ZKJ, Danny Core's gym. So I like the way they already have it built up for the next title fight there. I think that's a really cool thing that you normally see on the pro scene, but they did it on the amateur scene. I thought that was really cool. And shout out to Chloe Crozier as well. Like, that armbar was really good. And shout out to Lisa Brady for stepping up. She was only 2-0, I think, at the time, fighting someone like Chloe who's so experienced. That's incredible. I'd rate Chloe really highly on the women's scene at the moment. I think she's putting together her last fight. I think at Akuma was against Kai O'Sullivan. Yeah, and that, like, she went toe to toe with her, and that. And I think she's actually fighting Kai O'Sullivan next in Euro Fighting Championship. So the rematch, baby. Shout out. And then the Michael Shields versus Julian Renault fight was really, really tight as well. So all round, I thought like both shows looked really, really good from the bits I saw at Cage Conflict and from watching Clan Wars. Some high amateur MMA and some great young pros now on the scene. So hopefully we'll see Corey McLaughlin maybe on the next Cage Conflict, redeem that loss and get back in the win column.
Yeah, and it's up to these guys and girls to like go back and make an even bigger name for themselves next time as well. Ross, what would you like to see next from Owen McDonald?
I think maybe something similar. I think maybe another fight on the Cage Conflict scene. Get himself really sort of immersed into that pro game. I'm sure it was far more nerve-wracking fighting that pro than it was his last fight in amateur. I feel like there's a lot more on the line. He's got a young family and stuff like that. So, obviously that's part of how he provides them. So I'd love to see him maybe fight again, like Corey McLaughlin, on the next Cage Conflict card, and then pick up another win.
Yeah, they mentioned on the broadcast as well that Owen hadn't fought since February, and that Sanchez had fought a month ago. So
Interesting.
Yeah, and also the transition from 3 minutes to 5 minutes, fighting in his hometown.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure there. Like there really is, and a lot more pressure than, you know, fighting for an amateur title. Like fighting pro, like, means something. It really does. So yeah, it was a massive step up for him. And look, he got his hand raised. I'm sure he's not thrilled with his performance, but he's walking out there with the W. You know what I mean?
Look, the win is the most important thing. Like, even as Tiernan Loughrane said last time as well, he wasn't overly impressed with his performance as well. But look, you're better off being not impressed by your performance, getting the win, rather than being very impressed and losing.
Absolutely.
And then, what would you like to see next from Mario?
Mario, like, he's actually someone who maybe a Cage Warriors is a good shout for him. You know what I mean? Like, he's a BJJ black belt. He's gone 1-0. He beat Corey McLaughlin, someone who we both would rate really, really highly.
Yeah.
He's someone who was, you know, really successful in the amateur scene. I think Cage Warriors, obviously, SPG have that great relationship with PFL and Bellator. Maybe we see him somewhere over there. I think he's going to give anyone a bit of trouble. Like, no one's going to find it easy against him. He's very, very technical fighter. So, yeah, I think either PFL or Bellator or Cage Warriors next. But again, I wouldn't be against seeing him on the local scene. It's just, as we touched on, you know, when is the next local show? I think he fought in Clan Wars before that, so maybe a Clan Wars show as well. Like, those two are the ones that are putting on professional fights on the regular basis in Ireland. I know you're do some professional fights as well, so it could be there. But I'd love to see him also actually maybe fight in Ireland one more time before going pro, or before pushing on his pro career.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people would have been tuning in to see Corey as well as Mario. But I think, like, a lot of people, like, I think Corey was really selling that card. So shout out to both events. As I said, hopefully next time they won't be on the same night, so we'll be able to get up there. Ross, shout out to the Irish IMA team competing this week from the 5th to the 10th, and that's Uzbekistan.
Yeah, Uzbekistan. Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
No, I don't think it probably ever will be, but that's where the team is going or gone. So best luck to all of them out there. Amy Scully is, I don't know if she's defending or looking for another goal, but she's definitely one to watch out for. She's looked seriously impressive in all her fights so far. So I can't wait to watch and see how that team does. One person, I don't know if you're going to him next, but I did want to ask you, Basmo, what did you make of Conor McCarthy's performance in Cage Warriors?
I thought he looked at home. I think like when he walked out, I thought he looked like a star in the making. I think Jerry Harris even touched on the shorts as well. Like, they're sort of like a bit of a
hot stepper.
Yeah, you see, they looked a bit like Theodore Ortiz, but it's white with the orange flame and then a bit of green on it as well to get the tricolor in there.
Allure's finest. Shout out to Allure.
Yeah. Like, the guy who's fighting actually had a Conor McGregor tattoo on his arm, which is funny. But I thought he looked good. Like, at the beginning, I was like, look, this guy he's fighting has got a lot of experience as a pro. I think your man was 8-4, and Conor got a good. We went to decision. He won by decision, and he was getting a good all push as well from Cage Warriors in the build up. So I think it was great the way he got the win. And that's the thing now, with Cage Warriors come back to Dublin, like he sells a lot of tickets from people from Clane. So, like, the RDS might be too small depending on how many names you get in there, especially if you get a Max Lally in there. He could probably set out the arena himself. So maybe they're going to have to go. I don't know, where are they going to go?
Yeah, I think that's Ireland's biggest issue at the moment. It was touched on there at the weekend at UFC that, like, 3 arenas too small for a UFC event, even though they've held 2 there. And, like, for Cage Warriors, is the 3 arena potentially too big, or, like, too expensive for the amount of seats they sell. Like, just say you sell 7,000 or 8,000. Like, how profitable is that? Like, do you have to sell the 13,000 to make it actually profitable? 13,000 is a lot of tickets to sell. Like, where are the other arenas in the middle of all that? You know what I mean? So it can be quite difficult to do.
Sorry, what about the one they were talking about? Callum Walsh is always talking about in Cork.
Yeah, I don't really know about that arena or what it actually looks like. I think that's a massive thing about, like, what capabilities does it show, like, or does it have there? Like, what sort of rigs can you put up in the place? I mean, how big is the ceiling, etc., etc. Those sort of things like matter when you're putting on a show, especially of Cage Warrior size.
Yeah, but the thing is, Brian Manning sells a lot of tickets as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of people who will be selling quite a few tickets, and I feel like Cage Warriors could do like quite a big card. Like, that Italian card was huge the weekend.
Yeah, but do you know what? Even all the lads from Fight Academy Ireland, they sell a lot of tickets as well. So like maybe they go back up to the, what's it called?
The Odyssey in Belfast.
Odyssey, yeah.
Yeah, well, like, if you look at it this way, you have Fight Academy Ireland, CMAC, Team Ryano, Team Torres, Team KF, you know, bring Brian Manning on board, that's MMA Cork, SPG Nate, SPG Charlestown. Like, just adding like those 3 gyms is probably an extra, what, 600-700 tickets minimum, like, just on a like default. You know what I mean? So I think there's plenty of ticket sellers there. I think they need a good sized venue.
Yeah, they definitely do. They can have a new gaff, Ross. Give us the tour.
Yeah. But shout out to, I just wanted to say personally, shout out to Conor McCarthy. Thought you beat a very tough opponent, and I think that's probably what he needed. Someone who wasn't going to be put away that easily. That fella had like a great chin on him. Conor McCarthy hit him some excellent shots, and he also took a big shot at the end of the first and like imposed himself and got back in there. So something that we haven't seen really happen to him on the amateur scene. His boxing is extremely slick.
That was a great test for him, and he passed it. So
yeah.
So, like, yeah, let's see what happens in the future. Speaking of the future, what a transition, Ross. Ian Machado Gary
versus Joaquin Buckley. UFC Tampa, December 14th.
Yeah.
Your main event. 5 rounds. I can't wait for it.
Yeah. What do you make of that transition?
I think 9 out of 10, Baz. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, but Ross, what do you make of this main event?
I think stylistically, it's as good of a fight as you can get for the fans. Like, Buckley versus Ian Gary playing out on the feet. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a bit of a bull and the matador. I think Ian's going to be the matador and Joaquin Buckley's going to be the bull. You know, was I sort of underlyingly hoping to get Ian Gary versus Shavkat? Like, absolutely, undefeated versus undefeated. I would have been here for that. Obviously, you know, Ian and Colby have had a bit of back and forth, but looks like Colby wouldn't sign. You know, Ian also had a bit of back and forth with Usman, nothing signed. Seemed to be Buckley was the only one willing to step up. So, look, I'm here for it, but it leaves the welterweight in a bit of limbo with the title picture.
Do you know what? Some of the bigger named guys don't want to fight Ian because if they lose, they won't be in a title contention situation again. Your Colby's.
The downside of losing to Ian at the moment is much larger than the upside beating him. Because if Usman beat Ian Gary, he's former world champion, he was expected to beat him. That's the narrative if he won. And then if he lost, they'd be like, oh, well, there's a new era of talent here. He's washed.
Yeah, you see, they feel like this has been their whole life.
It's almost safer fighting their own. Like, Usman and Colby to fight each other again is almost like a better fight for them because...
Yeah. Or throw in Leon Edwards.
Yeah, exactly. Or...
Yeah.
And yeah, well, maybe Leon Edwards could be the guy. Maybe he's the one who fights Shavkat for an interim title.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point. They're like see, all their stocks drop if they lose to Ian as well.
Yeah, although I didn't see Leon Edwards put his hand up to fight Shavkat at 310 though.
I know, yeah.
which was interesting.
Like, look, at least we're going to end the year strong for Irish MMA as well, and like hopefully Ian gets the job done as well.
I also have a feeling Sean O'Bannon's going to be on that card as well.
Yeah, she's definitely putting out some pictures with some eyes. She's insinuating something, Ross.
Yeah, she's not just looking around.
Yeah, she's not just looking around. Also, Octagon's on this weekend. MMA Cork's Jack McGuire is going to be on the card, and then Ross, the UFC was on over the weekend. Brandon Moreno won by decision, and Aaron Blanchfield as well won by decision. And this weekend, UFC Vegas 100, baby. Neil Magny's taking on Carlos Prates, and in the co-main event, Cody Garbrandt against Miles Johns.
Who are you picking, Basmo?
I'm just going to go Neil Magny for the crack, bud. And then the weekend after.
Jeez, man, the police are coming after you.
Oh, no, yeah, man. I'm only joking. I picked Prates. I'm sorry. The weekend after us, UFC 309, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. And yeah, and then the day after, Cage Gladiators is going to be on as well. So, like, make sure to come back next week and tune in, because who knows who could be the guest, Ross?
Who knows?
Anything you want to say, bud, before we wrap things up?
No, just want to say great weekend for Irish MMA over the weekend.
Yeah, it really was.
Some unbelievable results. Fair play to all those who compete on the local shows and those picking up big wins in Rome and across the UK. Can't wait to see more of action like it. And look, for those who are at home, been like, love listening to those Energized guys. How can I help them out? Well, this is how you can help us out. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay energized, baby.
Energized Show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.